Howdy there, pinheads. Koji here. Gonna go over this Williams San Francisco 1964. Really neat pinball machine. 60s, some of my favorite machines. This one is no exception. Very fast playing, very difficult game, very low scoring. I'm going to try and go over some of the rules very quickly for you and some of the features. So one of the things you'll notice is a multiplayer game. It's kind of neat. You have a strategy where you have this arrow in the back glass. It's going to go left or right. The arrow is going to stay wherever it is, ball to ball, game to game, whatever, right? It's where you leave it is where it ends up, which opens some neat strategies for multiplayer. Obviously, if you were going to go toward maybe the middle and the single player game and a multiplayer, you might want to leave it further to the edge, making it a little bit more difficult for that player to just sort of randomly get into a zone that's going to score them more points potentially. Other things to go over. One of the neat things is multiplayer, but it has a double match feature. So what that means is if you match, so you notice right now you have a zero, so system match is zero. If both the second player and the first player ended up with the same match, you would end up with that double match, which could give you up to an operator configurable 10 credits. I think you can also set it to 2 and 5. In addition, you have the usual sort of regular single match, which is going to give you a single credit. Other things to go over. Multiplayer, it also has a neat feature I found anyway. I found a few machines that have this, but I thought it was pretty cool because it's the first one I've seen where player 1 actually has its own individual tilt, and player 2 also has a tilt as well. And so that means it's a game-ending tilt, but if you tilt in multiplayer game, then your other opponent's going to be able to finish their game, and it'll just keep moving on and skipping over. And I guess when I think of multiplayer tilt, I usually think of like a ball tilt, which I guess came a bit later. Quite a lot of mechanics there to keep that memory on the player that's tilted. And like I said, it has its own little tilt beside each score there. In addition, I'll say that I have my tilt set pretty liberally. This is a 60s game. It really needs to be nudged to play the game and to save yourself from a lot of the easy drains that will happen if you're not a nudger for sure. It's also just a lot of fun to do that. I'll just go over the rules quickly here. So it spots you the one zone wherever the arrow happens to be. So when I start this, it'll spot me in C zone. C is pretty good because it lights this top rollover for 100 points. It also lights this roll under for 50 points, and it lights the button corresponding on the playfield. And that's more like a mnemonic 10 points. It's a bit, I guess, but mostly it's a mnemonic sort of let you know, okay, yeah, I got that zone. You don't always have to look up at the back box. Other things, so B is going to light your red pop bumper, and the A zone lights this out lane for 50 points. The D is going to light this yellow pop bumper, and the E is going to light this violet one. To advance the arrow left or right, it's a strategy. You have to look at where the arrow is. Obviously, if you're all the way to the right in E, you want to go left to light whatever's to the left side of it, and to do that, you're going to want to shoot for the green advances. Now you got 3 passive green advances, and you also have the stand-up target, and you have this kick out. It's going to take it 5 steps. Now 5 steps is almost a complete zone, so if you're in E, you hit that 5 steps left, you'll probably get it into D. And basically the same with the violet side. You're going to have the 5 steps, you have the 3 passives, and you have the stand-up as well. So quite a lot of scoring going on. You got switches here as well that are going to score singles, and let me see what else. Then you got alternating sort of at the top. You're going to alternate left and right with every single point on the match unit. So that's going to ding, 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 a light green, like that. And when that's lit, you got that 50 points going into it. It's almost like a bit of a skill and a nudge off the plunge to get it into there. But once in a while, you can bump it up from that jet bumper in the middle. And last but not least, I'll say that when you try and get a few of these zones, you actually want to shoot for this gobble hole. Incidentally, this is apparently the last pinball to actually have a gobble hole implemented. Not the most popular feature, but for this game, it works out quite well. It's a big part of the strategy. 100 points being a lot in this game. Having a few zones, having 3 zones, and getting 300 points on your ball might even give you the win in a lot of games. So it's a neat feature to have on this one. It's not You're not going to hit it all the time, and a lot of opportunities when you can either nudge your way out of it or nudge your way into it. So without further ado, let's start a game. flipper skills. Going left now. Trying to get it up to that stand up. One left. Get up there. Yes, I am lit. All lit up. Try to get that gobble hole now. Yes! Oh yes, baby! Holy crap! Oh my goodness. It's probably taken me 30 games to get that. That's got to be one of the hardest challenges I've kind of given myself in a while. Oh, see if I can have a decent game. Trying to go right. Let's go right. I'll take it. Whew. Rolled it, yes. Going left. Drop in there. All right. I'll call that a night. That's pretty good. Good night.